Hello, welcome everyone. This is Fandom Geek Culture Podcast, and we are your hosts. I am Chipmunk. This is Phantaki. Check out our other channels in the descriptions below. All our social medias and everything will be there. But this is the fourth episode of the Fandom Geek Culture Podcast, and today we are going to be discussing the hate or the processes of the hate in the geek culture or nerd culture around Black women, and we're going to be just touching on the subjects of everything that we've seen and we've heard when it comes to the hate of Black women, whether it is in the movies, cosplaying, voice acting, all that. It's been a huge problem, I think. But it is, I feel like, a small minority, but they have the loudest voices in the community, which tears so many people apart. And so many of the actors and creators of all this nerd culture that we love, it tears them down a lot. And yeah, it's definitely something I was wanting to talk about because it's just been happening so often. And yeah, we're gonna dive into just how everything kind of like gets started and leads into nerd culture, which has been like the history around Black women in the entertainment industry. We had actors like Lena Horne. She has been an activist as well. She's one of the Black actresses that are passable. And usually, when it comes to being passable, that leads you into different stuff. If you're not passable, they don't put you into anything. They wouldn't
That's
have any Black actors or Black actresses into a whole bunch of stuff. But I think the men in the entertainment side got a little bit more opportunity than the women did because you see more of the dark skinned men in the entertainment business back in the 30s, 40s than you did the women. Women had to be passable to the white audiences more than the men did, and which sucked a lot. And you also had people who had the one drop rule. So we had Curl Channing, who was one of the actresses that was part of the one drop rule, where she couldn't even talk about her Black heritage. She was very much passable. She seemed white to everyone, but she couldn't explain that portion of her life, of her Black side, until years later, after a lot has become a little bit more accepted for Black people to be in the industry, entertainment wise. So it sucked heavily for Black women leading up to it, especially with the looks and everything. And it still happens today and throughout history, where they had very much more light skinned women like Eartha Kitt when she was going through her career. That's part of the whole passable look, is just the light skinned side. Nowadays, you had Holly Berry, light skinned, had to be passable to play in all these roles.
true.
Beyonce nowadays, it's the reason why I feel like she's a big star that she is. She still plays into it, which we've seen in the recent commercial. Was it Levi's?
Okay, she's been in a Levi commercial, has she?
I want to say it was Levi's. It was some type of pants because the people were comparing her to Sydney Sweeney in her commercial,
What?
and because she had the American Eagle, I think Beyonce had the Levi's.
Mm,
And people were talking about Beyonce. Oh, she doesn't look, black, and she's taking the white culture and everything to make herself big star or whatever, which is part of the passable thing. That's what Black women had to do for the longest. They had to play these parts to get to where they want to go, to the upper echelon of the mountain, you know. And it's sad. It's sad that they have to go through that and they have to try to be passable. But it's also hurtful for people who are on the dark skinned side, the women who are dark skinned, who didn't get those opportunities. The only ones it was surprisingly the major one um, that got to uh, it have any success was Hattie McDaniel. Um,
Okay.
and she was the first one to ever win an Oscar, in which they didn't even allow her to be a part of the cast and everything when she did win. She still had to go through the colored section and the colored side just to be there at the event. So we always had these hurdles to go through, and it's sad.
Yep.
And yeah, there's just the basic history when it comes to it, and you still kind of see it nowadays. Even when I look at some of the stuff that Black people create, you still can kind of see the colorism stuff pop up. Um, one instance I'm gonna just state is the Color Purple musical that had came out recently.
The movie version? Or
Yeah, the musical that came out.
the one
I
with
think it
Danielle
was
Brooks, or?
yeah, but yeah, that one when you have the sisters, um, the first movie, both sisters were dark skinned in the
Yeah.
first movie, and so the whole concept was one was ugly, one was beautiful, but they both were dark skinned characters, and so I liked that whole aspect more than how they had this musical, because now both sisters are different colors. One's light skinned, one's dark skinned. The dark skinned sister is the ugly one. The light skinned sister is the pretty one. That, whole thing still plays a big part of how they view the dark skin versus light skin of Black women. And it sucks. I didn't like that at all when it came to the musical, but I still feel like it gave Haley Bailey a chance at another type of role, but it's still,
Uh,
I'd rather have
that's
someone else.
that's another name I'm gonna bring up.
But yeah, so all this just bleeds into the nerd culture and how people treat um, the Black women that are in the nerd culture. And nerd cultures became the big popular culture nowadays. It's all over TV. You see it over movies. With nerd culture has just been pushed like crazy, where it wasn't like that years and years ago. And it's a good change, and I do like the change of how nerd culture is become popular, has become popular, and there's been changes to how things are done in the nerd culture, which has gotten better. I would say that voice acting has gotten better for Black voice actors. You're starting to see more than you did years ago. Um, um, Danny Chambers, she's a Black voice actress. She's one of my favorite. Uh, Before, only Black actors and voice actors and voice actors could only play Black roles, or characters, anime characters that kind of looked Black. Now they're
Yeah.
playing all the characters that they can. Danny Chambers is one of those voice actresses that is able to play non-typical, like tan skinned characters, and I like that. I forgot old dude's name. He plays on Dan to Dan, Black guy.
Oh,
Um,
I haven't finished ended it. I'm only like 5 episodes in.
and he's now he's been playing in roles where it's not the typical just black anime character, and I think that's gotten way better in those aspects and everything. But when it comes to the core fan base of nerd culture, it has gotten sad. And we're going to talk about some of those big examples of things being sad. We're going to start off with Star Wars and the hate that some Black women in Star Wars have been getting, because that was a whole ugly situation. I remember from watching different shows. Phantaki, since you are more into or have seen more of Star Wars stuff than I have, I'm still trying to work on it on finishing a lot
Okay.
of shows. But since you've seen more and you
So which Star Wars shows have you not seen yet?
the Acolytes, I haven't seen that one. I know there was hate towards the main um, character for that one, the black
Yep.
actress.
There's so much for that show. So for Star Wars, so a lot of the most recent hate for Star Wars has been towards the Acolyte, which is supposed to be the most prequel era of storytelling within Star Wars. It's before the Phantom Menace, before the events. Goes way far back, just to when Jedi were thriving and everything, and how just a more early life within the galaxy, and on Coruscant. So for the main actors from Acolyte, Amanda Steinberg, I believe that's how it's looking to be pronounced. She played two characters. She dual-rolled in this show as twin sisters that had a very similar creation to like Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
That they were created by just like the midi-chlorians. And that was a lot of hate there. People were really like, oh, you're bringing back that same type of stuff from Phantom Menace, pretty much the no father type of situation. And the show introduced space switches, which aren't a new thing. It's just a new type of space switch, I think, faction of space switches that was led by the actress Sophie Turner-Smith, I think is her name. She played the leader of this like coven. And there's a lot of hate towards her, especially, I would say, for the show, because the show her character tried to essentially explain a new way of thinking about the Force. And no one really vibed with it. No one really wants to hear more on how the Force works with outside like the Jedi Order. People think it's just the Jedi Order rules that like George Lucas tried to establish, but things are expanding, but people don't want to like grapple onto it. But there's a lot of hate towards this main character lady who was supposed to be like the mother of these two characters. But for Amanda Steinberg's characters, they received so much hate just because of the character she is. Honestly, it felt like, and just the storyline that went through. Near the end of the show, people did not like how she was able to bleed a kyber crystal red. She was able to turn a lightsaber from like blue to red within like an instant and show that she was able to channel the dark side. People hated that. And that was like one of the big like reasons like probably the show got canceled. It's just people were hating on the show, and people were hating going into like I guess these like Rotten Tomatoes, IDMB, where you can like review movies. They were like review bombing this series to make it just terrible. Just reviews just on these characters. People just did not like what was going on, and this show is very diverse of a cast. The male lead is the main guy from Squid Game, and in his like first like English role ever, and he did really well as like her like Jedi master, and he received a lot of hate along with her. It's people did not like the show. It's a lot of new things people did not want to go along with. It's like, what are you expecting with a series like so long ago? But it's also how the actors are just doing their job. They're just doing their job. Like, sorry that you don't like how they look, like, but like, what do you want? You just want it to be just a race swap, or like, what do you want the show just to get canceled? Which Acolyte got canceled, unfortunately, before they're going to really try to explore things, because they finally revealed who the Sith Master, like before Darth Sidious, it showed him in like the finale, and like Yoda was going to get involved with some stuff. But this show, Acolyte, just a lot of the hate towards the women in the show is just people did not like pretty much the way that they were portraying within the story, and they just blame the women over they blame the storytelling on the women and the actors. Honestly, that's really the best way I can like try to sum it up well. But going into like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't know, it's just Obi-Wan or just Obi-Wan Kenobi, his show. I don't even know which sister she is, but Inquisitor Reva got so much hate. I will say her acting, she overacted, I will say, but I didn't hate her as a character or anything. I just thought her character was doing a lot for what she was doing. But it made sense by the end of the series, kind of how she was acting. Just it was a revenge quest kind of for her. Like, but people were also trying to compare Reva to the Inquisitor from, I believe, the first Jedi Order game or something, saying that she was just like a copycat from that video game, just a lesser version. I'm like, I don't even know if like they're supposed to be canon with each other, but if they are, like, people are just not. I don't know. People are just hating too hard on people on there. Even like now, I think of like the Rise of Skywalker with certain, like, I think it's possibly Naomi Aki. People had some problems with. It's a lot of it. People are complaining it's about the acting, but it's like it's not further. It's the storytelling. Like, you have a problem with these characters. It's the storytelling, but you're blaming these women, and it's always a lot of it's been focused on these women, and then even on the actress who played Rose Tico, and she's Korean, I believe, but for being like the first like Asian, I think, like woman, like lady Asian like character in a Star Wars film, she got hated on so much when it came to like The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. That's why she got a reduced role for Rise of Skywalker, and I'm pretty sure that's just some of these other characters. Like when it came back, going back to Acolyte, like a lot of these people just the show just got canceled flat out. People just complain too much, and it's just it's a lot of racism for sure.
Yeah, I remember her when I played the Inquisitor in the Obi-Wan series. I remember her on a live or something like that. She was talking about how much hate she was receiving, and it was one of the sadder videos that I've seen because I was like, it doesn't make sense, especially for when stuff hasn't even came out yet and you receive hate. I see a lot of that happening a lot, which is crazy to me. But then you also have right after like episodes come out, the uh, actors and actresses, they all receive hate um, so heavily on superficial stuff that doesn't make any sense to me. Um, well, I feel like a lot of the hate she did receive, just going into it, was all a lot of it was racism, and it was sad to see when it came to Obi-Wan because I didn't mind Obi-Wan either. I actually watched that show. Um, I thought it worked well. I liked the different Inquisitors and stuff. Um, I thought the character looks were pretty interesting, fun. I think it worked. Yeah, I definitely agree on the character being a little bit too much at certain points because she was, but I actually thought it still worked out pretty well as far as just the show goes. It was definitely enjoyable, and I didn't pay that much mind to her just her being a female or being black or anything. I didn't be put that in mind nor the other characters because the other characters were diverse as far as just a group goes. So it's like to me that never comes to my mind to even just think about. But for a lot of the people in the fandom of Star Wars, especially, they for some reason just hated it so much before it even came out. Um, which I don't know why they do that because it happens in Marvel as well. They just jump on to just straight hate before it even comes out. Um, most recent one was for Ironheart, as you know.
Dominic Thorne. Oh, she got a lot of it. A lot of it. Not even her. It's just, I think even what's her face? The girl who played Natalie, the actress. But
Mhm.
they both received just Lyric Ross, her name. They both received so much hate for this show. This show was filmed, first of all, like right after Wakanda Forever was made back in like 2022. So these people, when the Ironheart finally was getting released, like these people had to wait like 3 years to see this like final product after it was already like done with everything. It was a lot of production hell, first of all, for Ironheart, but Dominic Thorne just got the most out of anyone for the hate. And like, I don't know what people were expecting. Like, people were introduced to her in Wakanda Forever, so it's not like a new character that people were like, "Oh, who's this?" You know. Mm-hmm. But for the people who didn't watch Ironheart and they're just going into her series or anything, like a lot of it, the show is definitely they're thinking like, "Oh, who's this Iron Man character?" or something. At first glance. But this show was just, it was definitely a shadow and, a homage to a lot of things that did come back before, for sure. And definitely finishing off and introducing this character in a good, fuller aspect. But people, I don't know, it always comes down to people saying, like, oh, who asked for the show? I'm like, well, this show's been announced for, like, how long? Like, how many years? You're now complaining about it? Like, you never heard of it? Like, come on. And then when it does come out, people are like going into like I don't know, they're going into it with so much hate. Like people, I don't know, the trailers I thought were all right that they released. The marketing sure wasn't there. Very like just like the last month. I think it was the first like Marvel series where the marketing was like under like 30 days or something. But Eyes of Wakanda got way less marketing, just like a week of marketing right before its release. But yeah, Dominic Thorne though, people just a lot of hate towards a character that was already introduced, but still people have problem just because a lot of it came with they believe she was just trying to be like an Iron Man copycat, and people like I think they were going with her story arc. People, I don't know. I don't think it has to even do with the story. I think just a lot of people are just not being satisfied with what's coming out lately, and they're just blaming. Just if the show's not going to be this grand thing, people are going to definitely be complaining. And a show that they had to, if I'm not mistaken, they had to literally make sure like Ryan could involve in the marketing for Ironheart because of like the success of the Black Panther movies and in this year's movie Sinners. They really had to market it hard, even with Eyes Wakanda, which is a show of Black women, very heavily on Black women characters, I believe, and a lot of men, but definitely a lot of like the early episodes, like showing off the women. With the show, like they really had to make sure because of just the hate that Ironheart and everything's going through that they have this like strong male presence, and someone that is been a part of like this universe to be like getting the attraction because people are not having it with people. I hate the whole term of the M's. I hate this term, the MC or no, the MCU or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just Marvel's just all about women now. It's like no, like it's really diverse. And Ironheart is, if I'm not mistaken, it's like the first actual show with a Black woman that's like centered around a Black woman. Like we have like Monica Rambeau and like WandaVision, but she's not like the main character or anything. She's just one of the supporting casts.
Yeah, and I hate how they talked about Riri and everything in the show was so ridiculous. Because the first episode comes out, oh, she's so ghetto. She lives in the hood. Lives in the ghetto. Okay. Oh, she's stealing. Oh, she's such a bad character. Oh, Iron Man would never do this. Oh, he would never.
Iron Man, but she's not Iron Man.
And
sure, it's in a vein that suit, the suit around the world, which I think she could be a play for Doomsday if that's kind of her test trying to make some armor to protect, but we don't know. But yeah, the whole thing with Iron Man, people kept on trying to compare her to Iron Man, but it's like she's not just because she has a suit.
There we go. Oh, okay, another. Oh, I'm super smart. Black girl. All the black girls gotta be super smart. Oh, she's highly intelligent. We'll see all these stupid things she's doing. they'll come up with all these comments and stuff, and I was like, well, Riri's character, as much as y'all try to say that she's like all these other black characters or it's another smart one, she's different from everybody else that is black in the MCU. She's different from Monica Rambeau. She way different from her as far as just the character, how she thinks, how she does. Her situation is way different than hers. How she grew up is way different from her. So of course you're gonna have a different aspect with Riri, or you're gonna have with Monica. Same with
Yep.
Sherry. Sherry grew up different. She was smart as well, but her whole thing was way different than Riri's. Her whole situation was way different than Riri's. How they interact with people and what they were going through was so different. Even their losses that they had to deal with as far as characters go were still used and utilized differently. And I was like, I like that how they went about with the growth of their characters was on a different course and on a different path, and how they tried to figure out exactly how to deal with their losses and the people that they loved and cared about. So it's like these comparisons of just another, she's ghetto, she lives in her typical black girl. It's not the same for all these characters, but y'all just say this because y'all want to, and not even looking at the situation when it comes to story, how the story arcs and stuff goes, and the character development. Y'all are not even trying to look at that when it comes to telling the story. So it's y'all just first thing is just to attack, and I was like, I hate that so much. But you hear it and you see it so much from all these different um, people and the I would say more of the grifters, but they have a huge fan base. All these grifters have a huge fan base in the whole geek culture, and they follow the same logic that they do, and it's just crazy.
I'll say like all the review bombing that Ironheart got with just as like first two episodes.
Mm-hmm. They were so horrible. And I was like, that was one of the more recent ones that I was like, it doesn't make sense how much hate, especially before the show gets started, because everyone already is doubting it will be good before it even started. And it's gonna be bad because one, Marvel's not marketing it. It's gonna be bad because it's taking forever for it to actually show. It's okay. It's taking a while for them to actually put it out there, but that doesn't mean it is bad. A lot of things get pushed back. A lot of shows get pushed back. A lot of movies get pushed back. A lot of stuff changes when it comes to reshoots and stuff like that. That happens. It happens in a lot of movies. But it's gonna be bad because that's what the show was going through. I say, I don't understand why they don't give stuff a chance before they actually come up with the bullcrap they come up with, and it is definitely
Yep.
sad. And this is coming from different type of grifters, whether they're white, foreign. I've seen so many foreign people talk bad about it. Black as well talk bad about it in these same rhetorics, and it's crazy, definitely crazy. Um, trying to think of some more ones where the quote unquote like race swapping stuff, which
I
hasn't
would
happened.
say uh, the actress Cynthia Erivo when she was casted for Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
She was casted. There's a lot of just hate, or just I don't know. I don't really hate or anything. I don't think like what she was doing in her interviews or what she said is anything bad. Just people just take things in a weird way when when people just say things. But her character, the Wicked Witch, is a green character. Like a character that is green, but there's a lot of people hating on her because she's a black woman. It's like they want like a white woman to pair out like Ariana Grande, like to give off the original actress from like the 1939 film. But people had a lot of hate, and this is for a lot of different things also, where a black woman is cast in a role where she's maybe like an alien or just something that's not even like human looking, and people have something to complain because it's like a black woman portraying. It's like, well, it's a black woman, sure, acting, but that's not a black character or anything. Like, it's not even like human, or it's like, it doesn't matter if it's a white or like black woman. Like, it's a character that's not supposed to be either. Like,
at all.
like the Wicked Witch, like she's just, she's just a woman, you know. But people had like a lot of complaints with Cynthia being chosen, and people love her now. Now that the film's like been out for like almost a whole year, it's here in like November. By the time For Good comes out, we'll probably get some more of that racism coming back again for another round. For all we know, for those who still don't like her being in the role.
Yeah, they can come up with some more of her bad takes and stuff that she did in interviews or just talking about stuff. Which one of the things that I thought was funny was the whole someone had redid her poster look to make it look more like the poster for the play.
Right.
And it was I guess it was a bad take from Cynthia, but I was like trying to understand it from her side of view. If she's never been in the fandom when it comes to these type of things and stuff, then of course she's gonna feel a certain way because she's not into the whole geek culture when it comes to the Wizard of Oz or stuff. So she may have a bad take when it comes to how she feels when it comes to stuff, and her poster that she's on changing up and all this, and she feels like her look is different than what it was. Yeah, was it not that big of a deal? It wasn't. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I think people blew it up more than it should have when it came to it. But I was like, it's a lot of that just little stuff that people tend to nitpick on her. Um, and yeah, I was like, some people they can just have a bad take, but I don't think it was a take to hurt anybody. She just felt like she was hurt.
She just wanted to, like, it was just her opinion on the poster,
Yeah, this is gonna be some
and
things I think we brought back up.
just offended by her. But me, I don't have any ill will. Really, like, I didn't care. Like, oh, it's another celebrity drama,
Right? I was like, it wasn't that big of a deal of an issue, but it's small stuff like
Yeah.
that she says during the interviews, or people tend to nitpick with her and Ariana Grande when they're doing interviews, holding hands or stuff like that. They tend to harp on her. Um, the fact that she's bald, people tend to harp on that a lot. And I'm like, man, it's like, just let the film come out, try to rush through this. But it ended up being a really good movie. A lot of people really did enjoy it. I was like, see if y'all just wait till the movie comes out.
Yeah, part 2 can make even more money for all we know when it comes out this November. They might even release part 1 back in theaters, maybe make some double features, hopefully. That'd be good.
Oh yeah.
Double feature show.
And another one who gets flack for being bald and in things is Deborah Wilson. I still don't understand the hate she gets. But she plays a lot of video game characters, and I've heard it from people, and it's crazy. Oh, the black ball bitch is in another video game, and it's like, what the hell are y'all talking about? It's like they wanted her to play, and then she doesn't play the same. She doesn't even have the same look all the time. Like you said, she played an alien in one of the video games. Y'all still bringing that up? It's like she's not playing her. She's not playing herself. It's not even her same look. She's an alien, but she's really good in these video games, playing these roles and stuff like that. That's why she keeps getting casted for these roles and these video games. 'Cause she's really talented. She's really good at it. But for some reason, people have an issue with her just existing and doing her job as a talent. And I was like, I like Deborah Wilson ever since like Mad TV. She's been so good and so talented in stuff that she plays. It's only a few things where they use her likeness. I think it was on like 3 video games or something like that where they actually use her likeness. Other stuff they didn't really use her likeness. So I'm like, what are y'all complaining about? And then the complaints when it comes to race swapping, stuff like that, which for certain stuff I can understand. Other stuff I don't. Like the Little Mermaid.
I'll say Halle Berry, the big one for sure, because I don't know the Little Mermaid story. I forget like where the story it's some European just folktale. It's a very dark story, but Disney told it in their way. And Ariel, this redhead, mermaid. People just resonated with that, but making Ariel black for this one, people, oh, the amount of hate the Little Mermaid got. Like, I enjoyed the film, honestly. And like, this isn't like the first time a Disney princess has ever gotten race swapped. The first ever race swapped Disney princess was when Brandy did Cinderella.
Oh yes, one of my favorite movies too. I like that.
That's like the only version of Cinderella I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen any other version of Cinderella.
Oh snap!
Only seen these version. Like that's the Cinderella story that I know. But like I do know the main story of like Cinderella with like the other Disney versions. But, like the amount of hate that I don't even know if Brandy ever got hate back then. I'm sure she probably did because first race swap princess. But Halle Bailey, I'm pretty sure is like the second. Honestly, I think she's the second after Brandy to ever do a princess in like a race swap role. And Halle, first of all, she's a light skin. Also, as she's a light skin. And people really had like I don't know. It's like they went with who they thought was best for the role. I don't know. Like you're not gonna find like that type of red for like Ariel. I don't know, like her actual red hair. So like they found someone who can work with like the type of I don't know if it was like the type of dye or whatever. But I don't know. Like Halle Bailey did a really great job, and she did. I don't know. She did a really great job. I don't know really what to say, but the hate she got, she did not deserve any of it. Like the movie did well for Disney, if I'm not mistaken. And Halle, I'm very glad that she got to do Ariel, and I'm glad she did too. Like,
yeah, it was. It wasn't a bad movie. I would say there's not that many live action Disney movies that I like, and that is crazy. And the fact that that's one of the better ones that came out is sad. But I was like, everyone acts like the race swapping is a new thing. And
right.
I like that example with Cinderella. That was Roger Hammerstein's Cinderella. And it's crazy how hard they worked on that movie too. I was wanting to touch on that because that was one of the most diverse castings I have ever seen. Was that Roger Hammerstein
The
Cinderella?
funniest cast, I think, because at least when it comes to the royal family in that Cinderella film, we have Brandy as the race swapped Cinderella. So Bernadette Peters, she did an amazing job as the wicked stepmother in that film. She was honestly the only person, like her and the evil stepdaughters were probably like your most accurate portrayals of the characters for that story for Cinderella. But then you go to like the royal family. I think it's just funny. I don't have any hate for it, but I think it's just funny. Uh, you have Whoopi Goldberg as the queen, as the mom, and then you have a white king. Their characters are supposed to create this Asian prince. Like, they're all supposed to be blood, also. Like it's not an adopted prince situation or anything. It's no Whoopi Goldberg, this white guy, create an Asian cat.
We used to make fun of that a lot. It was the funniest thing. It's like, oh, so that's how Asian people were made.
Blend a
It
white
was so funny.
person together.
Which is crazy. They were never the first picks. Bernadette wasn't the first pick for the role. The actress that was supposed to play the stepmother, she didn't want to do it because she thought about the race thing when it comes to Brandy. She was like, I'm gonna turn down a role because she didn't want to be like, oh, I'm attacking a black girl, you know.
And you get also
And
Whitney Houston as the fairy godmother.
mhm. Which Whitney Houston was years ago before because they've been trying to make the movie for a long time. She was supposed to have played Cinderella, but then she
Yeah.
turned it down and was like, I don't want to be an older person playing someone
Yeah.
who's supposed to be young. So it's like, of course, it makes a lot more sense. We don't want a whole situation. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was one of the more interesting because even the prince, it was a different person who was supposed to have played the prince as well. And I was like, I like the fact that they went with the Asian guy. It was like it worked, and it was funny. It's such a huge diverse cast. Even the stepdaughters one was black and well not stepdaughter, but her actual daughters, but stepsisters were black and white. It was so funny and it worked. And I like the fact that you had a darker skin Cinderella. She wasn't the more passable, Cinderella for the audiences. This was a very diverse cast, and it worked so well. And I'm glad that Whoopi Goldberg was still able to do it because, from what I've heard, she had some scheduling issues at one point, but the movie got delayed, and she was able to hop back onto it. So yeah, it was definitely a great movie. I actually liked that a lot.
I was like, I'm glad it's like the one Cinderella movie I do know that one. It's like all the other ones I don't like the cartoon ones, like the live action one that Disney did make, which I hear is really good.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen like any of them. But like the Roger and Hammerstein one.
Yeah, it was very awesome. I'm glad they made, it, especially on a small budget as they had. Um, it was definitely tough for them. They were able to make it work. They were able to make it, and
I'll say
they gained a
the
huge fan base.
yeah, the legacy of that film, that Cinderella film, got to continue on into the. Have you heard of Descendants?
Yes.
The legacy of Cinderella went as far as into the Disney films, like the Disney original channel, like movies, Descendants. Uh, the Brandy and the Prince, the Asian Prince, they got to come back for the fourth film for Disney Plus. The fourth film that I think just released for Disney Plus, maybe Disney Channel also, but even that series had some issues where people were hating on at least the original first film because when they were trying to create the story of children of villains, you know uh, Cruella de Vil, the actress who got to play Cruella de Vil, was a black woman.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't see all of the Descendants stuff. I have it saved on Disney Plus. Interesting enough, I just haven't gotten to it. But that was one of the things I was wanting to see was Descendants. I just haven't gotten to it, but I've heard so much. Funny enough, it was a good thing. So I'm glad that I didn't hear the bad, negative stuff yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's yeah the it's sad as far as just the way swapping goes. It's like it doesn't. It's like it's never harped on when it's a white person that is race swapped into a role. And people go, "Oh, that doesn't happen." It does. Psylocke is an example of an Asian character that turned white for some reason, somehow. But we accepted it. We moved on. We had accepted it and moved on. As far as
Exactly.
just the story goes, and they tried to go back to it and was like, you know what, we're gonna try to fix it, make her back Asian. So we're gonna create this whole crazy story that doesn't make sense, but we're gonna try to make it work. They tried their best to make it work, and we still accepted it. We still accepted how stuff turned out. But it happens. It happens a lot in comic books. I don't know why it's that big of a deal, especially if the character's heritage doesn't matter to the story. So
Mhm.
if it matters, then I can definitely understand that. I wouldn't want to see, which we see in movies all the time, white person is in like a what Asian country or
Yeah.
and then they're the last samurai or the it's just one white person for some reason was the savior for some stupid, but we just supposed to accept it, which we do. We move on. Back in the day, it was just what it was.
Hmm.
We didn't pay that much attention, or that we. I don't think a lot of people cared, but social media wasn't prominent back then when a lot of different um, stuff was going on during that time. So we didn't get a loud voice from people to actually talk about, hey, those films during that time when they did come out, how people cared about it, which I still feel like people probably didn't care whatsoever. Shogun. And the thing that bothered me with that I felt like people didn't mind a white guy playing into a role where he becomes a samurai. But for some reason, when a truce, which happens, it did happen back in the day, but for some reason, when you show in a video game a black guy become the samurai, it is something wrong with that.
Yeah.
They have to harp on why is this guy why do we have a black guy being a samurai? Oh, he wasn't really a samurai. They were trying to negate everything. But in Shogun, it wasn't. No one's really harping on, oh, if that was possible. Oh, he wasn't really a samurai. Oh, he had the status. He was given the status. Given the status by the leader, then yeah, of course you're gonna be a samurai. You're gonna be the shogun. I don't understand how people would just flip it so easily when it's a white role. No one's gonna too much care.
Yeah.
No one harps on it. But as soon as it's another race, they harp on it like crazy. And that's how I kind of feel when it came to like Little Mermaid and everything like that. I feel like people harped on it when I don't think the race mattered. Yes, it was in another country and everything when the story first started, but the heritage didn't matter too much for the story.
I'll say
So
the character is just a mermaid, you know.
yeah, it's just a mermaid. The mermaid could be any race, any color. If she was Asian, I wouldn't have mind. If she was Hispanic, I wouldn't mind.
Exactly.
Which I would love to see more Hispanic people in roles. I've said that several times. I
Yeah.
think there's too few roles for Hispanic people. That's why I like the fact that Ryan Coogler had Namor as a Mexican heritage type
Yeah.
of role because we didn't get that much. And then we got recently after that America Chavez, and I'm like, I'd love to see more uh, Latin American Latinos and everything to be more in movies and the MCU and stuff like that. I love seeing that. I'm glad that more Asian people are getting shown and seen in a lot more projects. It's always great to see. And yeah, it's for some reason it's hated on more when it's not a white character. Specifically, if it's a black character, it's easier when it comes to. I feel like Asian characters a lot more. Um, it seems like in certain fandoms, but they can get hate too, as you stated with Star Wars, which is crazy. But yeah, as far as just the movie scenes and the show scenes and the nerd culture, uh, it's it's sad to see how much hate that black women do get um, in the space. And we have so many people who are so talented, they're trying to make it be in the industries, and they get so much pushback um, and everything. And it was hard to get a lot of black characters and stuff. I remember someone talked about how I was wanting to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Storm didn't feel like a real black character, even though she was. I had seen black young girls say that she didn't relate to Storm because she had too many white features about her. She was too much of a character that was trying to be passable to a white audience.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can understand on certain points that she was talking about because of how Storm looked, shape, and everything, straight, how her hair was, everything. So she didn't really relate to it as much. Do you feel like there was a lot of like characters that were like that were, as far as just black female characters, that weren't?
When it comes to Storm, I feel like I don't know if it has anything with maybe because I don't know. Like Storm is a bit of also like an Egyptian character. I think she's possibly like a mixed character, maybe also if she's not just an Egyptian character. But Storm, I don't know. Like she feels like a black woman to me, like a good character like that. But I don't know. Like for someone to relate to her, it's just I don't know. Like it's an interesting thing that that one girl said. Other characters. Not too much, really. It's just always like I don't know. It's never like I never hear. It's always like the one like ethnic group. I never hear about them hating on like a certain character all the time. Of course, there's always someone, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I do feel like there's not enough just good black looks when it comes to certain characters, especially back in the days. But I feel like there are some they're just not pushed in the mainstream as much. For instance, Bumblebee. Um, she's a black character that I feel like works pretty well as a character, but she's not pushed as much in DC as you would like for her to be pushed. Um, but she has like the Afro, little two puffs and everything. It, if that was a character that they would push, it'd be just another character that people could cosplay as and stuff because people plain just not know, black characters really cosplay as.
True.
And I'll be like, that's be one that would be fun and interesting. Bumblebee. There's several others that I have seen over time. I gave a friend an example of one that she could play that she thought was sexy, as far as just cosplays and stuff goes. But there's a lot of them not pushed as much as we would like. And then a lot of the characters do come from also the company that did Static Shock,
Okay.
because that was a majority black comic book franchise. So it's like it's that's the only way DC got some of their black characters into
Yeah.
into the DC was from their company. So it's sad to see, especially when it comes to cosplays and stuff, because people feel like, oh, you shouldn't play or cosplay as a character if you're black, this white or this Asian, or which is stupid to me that people will say that, but I've heard it several times. Um, I've seen it in different social medias of people saying, "Oh, you can't play that character because you're black. You can't
Yeah.
play that character because you're fat, or you can't play that character." I've seen it several times. I was like, "Let people cosplay what they want to. It may not fit your idea of what the character is or the actual character look, but they want to play and cosplay as characters that they want to." And I stated this even before. There was a white guy that cosplayed as T'Challa. He played Black Panther.
Hmm.
It was fine. No one harped on it at all. It it's fine to cosplay as you want, but even in the cosplay side, black female characters get hate so much. It's crazy.
I feel like people should be allowed to, when it comes to like the cosplay side, or just just mainly just yeah, definitely the cosplay. Like people should be allowed to show their appreciation for a character if they want to, especially if they like feel like I don't know, like if they do feel like that connection, like let them just have that.
Hmm. Yeah, but you see it on forums and people say that, oh, it don't. I have heard people say, oh, that doesn't happen, or that I've heard people say it out of their mouths. I've seen it on social media. People do say it, but it's a few people that don't believe us that it has happened or
Yep.
it does happen. I was like, it happens. It happens sadly too much. Or people will go, oh, this group of people don't hate. Oh, they don't. I would assume someone say the metal heads are the most friendliest people you'll find around. I have ran into some metalheads that didn't think I belonged at a metal show. Went to watch Disturbed live at concert. I love Disturbed, one of my favorite rock bands. But I've gotten words of, oh, you don't belong here. Oh, yeah, I didn't think you would be here. I've gotten that. Is it small and not as many? Yes, it's a few small amount of people, but they be the ones who would impact you the most, and that's the sad point. Is those people, those small groups, they impact everyone the most because they're the loudest and they're the ones that are harping on it the most.
Yep.
And that's the impact that I was wanting to really talk about. Yes, there's this small majority of people, but these small majority of people have so much effect on others. It is ridiculous. And it shouldn't be that way, but it does happen. But I'm always glad for conventions and stuff that's like DreamCon and stuff that gets to showcase um, artists, comic book creators, everything as far as just anybody who's in the space to let them be able to showcase because that wasn't even a space that a lot of black people had to really go on. They've showcased black cosplayers, black creators and everything. And I like the DreamCon has that. Um, is it a lot more than just black people? Yeah, I've seen different people. I've seen a lot of white people there. I've seen a lot of Hispanic people there. There's still a lot of different groups, but it's enough as far as just creators go to showcase and say, hey, we're here. Um, we do have a platform. People do like us. We are good at what we do, and it gets to showcase that. You know, where other times they didn't really get to showcase, like at TwitchCon, not too many black creators go there because they're not really seen as loved or cared about when it comes to those conventions and stuff like that. Even award shows and stuff. But I'm glad it's changing in some aspects, but it's still the same in others, Um, but I'm all for everyone getting shine and everything that they can. I liked it the fact that even though the Adams family was turned to a Latin family.
I was about to say
Uh,
them for a good like race swap after the '90s films. Like
mm,
it's been really well known. Like just appreciate it with how they've done with the Wednesday show of keeping it like a Latin family and homage to like the '90s, and just it was one thing like that the Adams family is about. Like they all like they have their dark nature, but one thing that they're all about is family, and that is a
mm,
big central thing in Latin Hispanic households is family.
oh yes, and it's always good to see more and different. I think than just your typical what we normally see all the time from back in the day was just always you know this only group that we see all the time. It's good to see you know people in more diverse stuff and black women should be treated a lot better in the nerd culture than they have been. I don't understand when it's supposed to be a culture of acceptance ends up
Yep.
becoming the culture of hate, and it's not what it's supposed to be. It's not what it should be. I was introduced into the culture because it was so much of you're an outsider, but we'll accept you.
Yeah.
That's how I was introduced into the nerd culture, and that's how I thought it all should be. But yeah, I hate to see these small groups make people feel so bad about who they are, uh, the characters and stuff they like, or just bashing on movies and stuff or projects before they even come out. Should have any last words regarding the topic before we end it?
Um, Nothing that I would have to say. It's just I feel like there's a lot of unnecessary hate going out, and just people don't know where they're really trying to direct their hate towards, and they decided to choose a person, and unfortunately, a lot of it turns out to just be a lot of racism, hate behind a lot of things too, and just people just not being able to accept.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But hopefully that change. But we'll talk about stuff as they continue on. If there's more grifting going on, we'll definitely talk about it when it comes to films and stuff. That's where we'll just add into our podcast with more information of what's going on. So please do continuously check our podcast. Before we jump off, though, uh, Phantaki, is there any updated projects or movies that you have seen recently that you would like to talk about?
Well, yesterday was my birthday. I went out and saw
Happy
Studio Ghibli Studio.
Where's the? I missed the wrong horn. There we go.
And then K-pop Demon Hunters is in theaters this weekend, only this weekend. And I was able to see it yesterday for one of its final showings for Saturday. And that was my first time seeing the movie. Uh, Very interesting, good film. The soundtrack is definitely stuck in my head, and I've been playing it for sure. Uh, but yeah, I've been watching a lot of that. Was a really good. K-pop was just a really good thing I've been watching, and then I got myself a physical copy of Alien Romulus and season 1 of Solo Leveling. So I've been checking those out also, and I think I've caught up. I watched all of the current episode that is of Gotcha Kuta. I've been enjoying that anime a lot too this week. Yeah, I've been trying to get a lot of anime watched, and got some good physical stuff.
Yeah, I've recently just watched K-pop Demon Hunters as well. Interesting movie. I had watched it today before we jumped on. Um, yeah, it takes me a while to get to certain stuff, but I was like, finally watched it. It was enjoyable. I really wanted to see it because Audrey Nuna is one of the singers for one of the characters, and I was like, I want to see how she does as far as it goes, how she sounds in it, because I like her as an artist. So I was like, yeah, it was definitely an interesting and fun movie. Um, didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but it was an interesting, fun movie. Recently, also just watched The Day the Earth Blew Up. I want to say that's what it's called, the one with the Looney Tunes.
I got that myself. I got a physical copy of that the other week.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, I just recently watched that. That was wild.
I'll say the alien I thought was terrifying. Like
I thought it
the alien.
I thought it was gonna be Marvin for some reason. I was like, it's gonna be Marvin pop out. It was like, oh, it's not Marvin.
Makes sense though. They went with an original character for the film, which I get. But it definitely for that film, I think it would have worked better if it was maybe a trio of Looney Tunes characters and maybe just made Marvin the Martian the villain. But the villain that they went with was okay. And the only other thing I think I watched that was main was the Shutter film House on Eden.
Oh, the Eden movie is album theaters, right?
Eden, House on Eden.
House on Eden. think I've heard of that one.
I was like, you did a reaction for that one. It's the found footage. It's like the found footage movie for Shudder.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I was just talking about.
It was good. Definitely, low budget type horror. It was made by two YouTubers, Call Me Chris and Celia Spooky Boo. They film. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they got their stuff picked up by Shudder, and definitely like a horror comedy more than anything. I will say they didn't. I know they didn't really expect it. It's just kind of like one of their YouTube videos, more extended, more than anything, but into like an actual theatrical film. The third act was very like definitely interesting. It was definitely in a reminiscence. Chris Collins, she definitely the director of the film. She made a lot of references to horror films she like loved. So the film isn't supposed to be like great. It's definitely just supposed to be kind of just a love letter to horror in a way. Also,
like they show homage to like Blair Witch Project and
Blair Witch, Hereditary, The Witch, The Witch, I should say. A lot of just different types of horror for sure. I was picking up on certain things throughout. I think there's one thing I was like, this Insidious. It kind of there's parts where it's like this kind of made me feel like Insidious and like. But the final 5 minutes go pretty longer, go pretty like crazy.
nice. Definitely gotta get my subscription back, but it was some stuff that's on Shudder that was popping up for free on Prime. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'll wait on it, but then it's a whole bunch of stuff that they don't show that's on Shudder, just because Shudder teams up
Yeah.
with a lot of different companies.
Right. House of Name, I think, goes on September.
But cool.
Well, that's all I have really on what I've been watching this week.
Sweet. Same here. Well, all right, everyone. That is the episode for episode 2. Episode 4. Everyone, that is episode 4 for our podcast, Fandom Geek Culture. Again, check us out as far as just our own individual channels in the description below. But if you would like to continue checking out our podcast, we'll also be on Spotify, so check out the Spotify as well. If you just want to listen to the different episodes and stuff there, instead of watching it here on YouTube, that is perfectly fine. Enjoy it on different times that you can, whether it's driving or just out. Definitely appreciate everyone for tuning in to us, and hopefully you come back and check out some more. Any final?
Definitely, and thank you for tuning into this. This is a slow, steady start for our podcast. About 4 episodes in, pretty much a whole month down. We are continuing to do this. This is not something we're just wanting to quit. Just something new to try out still, and we're gonna try and continue, evolving and improving these new episodes for you guys, and just to have a good conversation. So definitely tune in to next week's episode 5, and just, of course, also let us know your thoughts on this topic that we did today.
Oh yes, definitely leave comments down below. And episode 5 of Phantaki will be the lead host for that episode. So do come back, check us out again. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. And again, thank y'all.
And